Welcome to Mika Amcha Yisrael in Parashat Nizavim. Our pasuk reads, Vayomer Alehem ben me'ah ve'esrim shana anochi hayom. He said to them, I'm 120 years old today. Lo uchal od letzeit v'lavo. I can no longer go forth and return. Rashi poignantly notes, I can no longer go and come were words of Torah. This profound commentary teaches us that the wellsprings of divine wisdom had in some sense become sealed to Moshe. Yet, how can we reconcile this with what we know? Moshe Rabbeinu, despite this self-proclaimed limitation, still gave the mitzvah havakel. He composed the shira of ha'azinu, and he blessed Bnei Yisrael before the passing. These monumental acts seem to testify that no wisdom had truly left him. Rather, it was present in his fullest force until the very last breath. The great Chacham David Pinto Shalita offers a beautiful insight. Moshe was not just the greatest leader of our people, but also the humblest of men. Even on the day of his death, Moshe did not turn inward, focusing on his own spiritual elevation or his personal affairs. Instead, Vayelech Moshe, he went out from person to person, tending to the needs of the community both spiritually and materially. His care for his people never wavered, even in his final moments. Moshe's humility shines through here in an amazing way. Instead of seeking solace for himself, he chose to impart the mitzvah of hakel, a commandment rooted in unity and collective growth, ensuring that future generations would embrace love for one another and cling to the Torah. This legacy given to Bnei Yisrael in his final moments is one of selflessness, leadership, and an enduring commitment to the well-being of others. From Moshe Rabbeinu, we learn the immense power of humility. Even when he believed his strength and wisdom were diminishing, his humility restored these gifts, allowing him to perform extraordinary acts, writing the Torah, composing the whole Shira of Ha'azinu, and blessing the Jewish nation right up until his final day. The Torah is likened to a song. It's a melody that nourishes and sustains the soul of every Jew. And just as music has the ability to transcend barriers, touching the heart and soul, so does the Torah penetrate the layers of a person's heart, revealing truths that may have forgotten. It reaches out even to the most distant Jew whose heart may be hardened by life's challenges or mistakes, and brings them back to the eternal source of spiritual nourishment. In the end, it is through Moshe's humility, love, and the unparalleled gift of Torah that the Jewish people draw closer to Borei Olam. Afford me the luxury of sharing the following. On August 9th, 2001, Mordechai Shizva Sherder, his wife, and 5 of their 8 children decided to have a peaceful day out in Jerusalem. They chose the Sbarro restaurant in central Jerusalem for lunch. They were seeking respite from the frequent Arab shootings near their home in the Shomron. And as they stood at the counter waiting to order, a suicide bomber entered and detonated his bomb. Mordechai, his wife Cyril, and 3 of their children, Rhea, Avraham, and Chemda, were killed in that horrible explosion. Leah, 10, and Chaya, 8, survived and were rushed to Hadassah Hospital. Chaya was more severely injured. Her small body was riddled with the nails and other metal fragments. And after learning of the deaths of her parents and siblings, she whispered, "All I want is my mother." Tragically, no one could give this little girl what she yearned for most, her mother's comforting embrace. Leah was well enough to attend the funeral, but Chaya remained too gravely injured to leave the hospital. And as her physical wounds were treated, the doctors, they grew optimistic about her recovery. However, it soon became clear that Chaya was falling into an emotional black hole. And although she could talk and respond to questions and even eat, her emotional state was deteriorating. She showed an unnatural restraint, never shedding a single tear, a phenomenon deeply unsettling for an 8-year-old who had experienced such a profound loss. Chaya became more distant with each passing day, and the medical staff feared that she was slipping into what's called a catatonic shock. In an effort to break through, several Jewish singers visited her bedside, hoping that music might stir her soul. But nothing seemed to work. Her vacant expression remained unchanged. One evening, Dedi, a world-renowned singer, and Suki Berry, the famed musician, visited Chaya. Dedi's warmth and gentle demeanor filled the room as he sang song after song, each one with a deep feeling. Then, Suki began playing Piha Patcha, a song originally sung by Mendy Wall, while Dedi sang the vocals. And as the song filled the room, something remarkable happened. Suki noticed the shift in Chaya's expression. Her eyes grew serious, as if some long-buried emotion was awakening. Then they saw it. A single tear slowly rolled down her cheek. And moments later, a flood of tears began to pour from Chaya's eyes. What started as controlled sobs quickly grew into this uncontrollable, wrenching cries, the emotional release that everyone had been hoping for. Doctors and nurses rushed into the room, many just to witness this powerful moment. This was the breakthrough they had all prayed for, the therapeutic cry that little Chaya desperately needed. Dedi continued to sing, and Suki played on as Chaya wept, and her tears flowing freely. In the days that followed, Chaya began to heal, not just physically, but emotionally as well. When she was finally released from the hospital, the doctors were confident that she would find her way back to life. Chaya would later recall that Piha Patcha was the song her father lovingly sang to her mother every Friday night before the Shabbat meal. When she heard it again in the hospital, it pierced the barriers that she had built around her heart, unleashing the wave of emotions that she had been holding back. That song, a melody so familiar and comforting, broke through and touched her soul. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine the warmth of her father's voice, the love in his eyes as he sang to her mother every Shabbat evening. In that moment, the music broke through the walls of pain and grief that had imprisoned her young, tiny soul. One tear and then another until the floodgates of her emotions were released. This simple, familiar melody brought her back to life. And just like Chaya, we stand at the crossroads. And in the month of Elul, the melody of Teshuvah calls out to us. The identical power that unlocked Chaya's heart is within the Torah, awaiting each one of us. It's an eternal, ethereal song that penetrates even the hardest of hearts, a song that whispers to us, return, no matter how distant we feel, no matter the barriers that we've built. The gates of Teshuvah are wide open, inviting us to come home. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to return. Shabbat Shalom and Mevorach.